Okay. So this movie happened. Yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's has just been released, and it's safe to say that it's had some questionable reviews so far. It's been divisive, and some are calling it a letdown. Well, I went to watch it, and there were some good things about it, but there were also some terrible things that just didn't quite hit the mark. So I thought I'd break down and explain all that there was to take away from it, explain the ending, and also discuss the post-credits scene. So let's get into it. Here is Five Nights at Freddy's ending explained and review. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The post-credits scene. Well, this post-credits scene is actually a mid-credits scene, and to be honest, it's not that large of a reward. Hence why I imagine the creators of the movie decided to add it about 1 minute into the credits, so we didn't have to wait around that long for it. Does it tease a future movie? Personally, I don't think so. This mid-credits scene was focused on the cab driver who picked up Abby and Freddy as the movie was building to its climax. We saw the cab driver waiting on the side of the road, and as his door opened, we were met with what felt like the main jump scare in the movie. This was Balloon Boy at the door of the cab. And then once the cab driver saw him, the movie cut to black and it went back to the credits. It was a bit underwhelming, but alas, it was one final nod to the iconic character in the series, and I would say another failed attempt at making the audience jump when they least expected it. Personally, I feel like this is just a little added extra for the viewers, and it doesn't hold any significance or weight in terms of developing the franchise forwards, so don't expect too much from it. The ending explained. As we embarked into the climax of this movie, we found out that the whole thing was essentially all about the children that went missing in the 80s, and they were put inside of the animatronics by the original creator of them. And the ghosts of the children that were haunting Mike's dreams had come back to possess the animatronics as their bodies were inside there, hence why they could function when inside the pizza place and were carrying out acts and orders that the serial killer and kidnapper demanded. This was revealed to be the iconic Yellow Bunny, with them wanting to recruit Abby as part of the animatronic gang, which meant that she would need to be killed. We saw that Mike went to Freddy Fazbear's pizza place with the intention of destroying them all and retrieving his sister. This was after he accidentally made a deal to give her up so that he could have a dream every night where the events of Garrett, his younger brother, being abducted were told differently, and he wouldn't feel the guilt and responsibility for him going missing. Something which I thought was a bit silly really, but hey, we move. Sacrificing your sister for a dream. With Mike destroying all of the animatronics with the tasers that he had, we saw that the ultimate boss came in. The Yellow Bunny, which was on all of the drawings and was the person behind the taking and killing of Garrett, and all of the other children that went missing in the 80s. With the helmet of the bunny coming off, it was revealed to be Steve Raglan, the person who hired Mike in the first place. This makes sense as to why Steve stuttered when he saw Mike's surname before offering him a job, because he knew that he was related to the boy that he killed many years ago. Hence why he wanted him to get the job, to satisfy his sick and twisted mindset. With Mike on the cusp of being killed by Steve, we saw that Vanessa, Steve's daughter, came in and tried to get him to stop. However, he was fine just attempting to kill her. She also did a terrible job at trying to stop her father. With Abby free for the time being, but the animatronics being reactivated by Steve, she drew a different drawing on the wall which replaced the drawing of the Yellow Bunny and all of the animatronics and children together having a happy time. And she instead replaced it with one which showed the truth. One of Steve in the costume with a knife representing what happened on the fateful days where they were actually abducted and killed. The wall acted like the motherboard, and it meant that all of the ghosts that possessed the animatronics were exposed to the truth, and they then turned on Steve. And once they broke through his outfit, the mechanism started to pierce through him, so he was molded to the suit just like all of his victims were. With him saying, "I'm always back," it did make me wonder if it meant that a sequel was going to be set up. And technically, in this world, surely if ghosts exist, then that means he could just possess his animatronic form, but time will tell with that. With Freddy, the main ghost child, being the person that was watching Steve slowly die, he shut the door, showing that he had been exposed to the truth and the violence would ultimately stop. However, they were trapped in limbo, which felt like a horrible place to be, both dead and alive, but needing to possess the animatronics. After this, it cut to the future and we saw that Vanessa was in hospital, unconscious, and Mike was by her side, showing that she managed to survive the attack from her father. As well as that, Abby had also improved when it came to her relationship with her brother, so it showed that by Mike focusing on the present rather than trying to change the past, the future would be better. I would say though that it felt like 1 minute Abby didn't speak to him, but then for the rest of the movie she did, so I didn't really buy the disruption that was present between them. I'm also a bit confused by Vanessa's logic as a whole in this movie. So you're telling me that she knew her father was a serial killer, knew that the bodies of the victims were inside of the animatronics but did nothing, and instead became a police officer that appeased the animatronics and her father, only until the climax of the movie when she had a change of heart. It was just one of those things that's just utterly ridiculous when watching, and it showed just how pieced together the movie was, in order to try and find a way for it to finish. Overall review. I thought this movie was a bit of a letdown, to be honest. Considering it's one of the most hyped movies of this final quarter of the year, I actually expected so much more from it. Considering this is a horror movie, it failed to make me jump, feel scared, or creeped out at any point. The jump scares were cheap and didn't really make sense. If anything, I feel like the movie lacked any real identity and was solely riding off of the existing IP. When it was revealed that the animatronic characters had the bodies of the victims of the serial killer Steve Raglan inside of them, and they were possessed by the ghost of them, and they were made to do what he wanted because they believed that he was their savior almost, it just felt a bit weird and ridiculous. I also feel like the initial response from Mike had no shock factor whatsoever, and he just bought the fact that these machines were possessed by ghosts, no questions asked. The twist of Vanessa being the daughter was something that I didn't expect, and also the next twist of Steve being the yellow bunny and also the killer who took Mike's brother Garrett was something that I didn't actually see coming either, so I respect it for that. I actually found the narrative of Mike trying to access his dreams and find the identity of his brother's abductor through the dream theory quite interesting, and that being its own movie could have actually worked in its own right. Also, what's the deal with the auntie and those henchmen as well, the biggest goobers of all? Literally, nothing happened with that. I would say though, the best thing to come from that was the lawyer. He was actually quite funny. His responses made me chuckle from time to time, so I'll give him that. So overall, this movie just felt like a feature that lacked any real direction, didn't know what style or genre it was trying to fit in, and it was solely riding on the existing IP, which is such a shame. What did I enjoy? Well, I enjoyed the way that it was shot and the colour palette. The luminous lights and the vibrancy that it had was nice on the eye. Plus, I would also say that the animatronics were pretty cool too. This is a movie that tries to deliver the tone, mood, and feel of the game. And in turn, the pacing of it is compromised, as well as the plot that felt relatively thin. If you like the game series, then maybe it's worth a watch because the characters being on the big screen is interesting for sure, and the cinema near me was packed out, so it's getting people in seats. But in terms of getting a quality movie, it's something you're just not going to get with this. So, there you have it, Five Nights at Freddy's Ending Explained and Review. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this movie? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.